So welcome to Bio 211, AMP1, Norwalk Community College. And this is the continuation of Chapter 5. We're looking at skin, and we just finished up with the subcutaneous layer. And what I want to do now is I want to go back to what's inside the dermis of the skin by looking at the accessory structures that you find inside of the skin. And we're going to start here with hair, and of course their responsibility is protection. It's how you detect what's coming closer to your body. Reduction of heat loss. It actually traps molecules of energy, or heat if you will, at the surface of the skin itself. And it can also sense light touch. And to prove this to yourself, just simply hold out your arm, find a singular hair, and just touch that one singular hair. Okay. So all of these things are what's actually going on. The question is, how does it actually do it? Hair is composed of dead keratinized epidermal cells, okay, which means epithelial cells become keratinized and then become your hair. The shaft of it projects above the surface. The root is what's inside the dermis, and it comes out of it, emanates out of a hair follicle itself. Okay, what does it actually look like? Here it is. Here you can see down here blood vessels traveling into the papilla of the hair, and you're going to have this radiating outward matrix of cells. So it grows just like your skin would grow. It grows outward and then upward. And as important as it is to understand that there's a dermal root sheath here, and there's the external root sheath and the internal root sheath, what you want to make sure you understand is that there's an outside part, there's an inside part, okay? And the reality is that it's attached to a hair root plexus. So when you actually touched that one hair a moment ago, it hit this here, and that's how your brain knows something's been touched. There's also a gland that actually sits alongside it, and that's going to release materials onto the hair itself. And one of the most important materials is it's a waterproofing material, right? So water can't get in this space and allow things to grow. It doesn't stop stuff from growing in there. It does, however, also produce some antibacterial and antimicrobial materials. So it's an interesting sort of scenario where that the more you wash your hair, the more you wash your skin, the more these sebaceous glands actually have to do their job, because you've now removed everything that was helping them be successful. Those glands are called sebaceous oil glands, right? Those are the ones that are connected to the hair follicles. And the significance, of course, is going to be that when we're actually looking at them, they actually inhibit growth of bacteria. Okay. Cerdiferous glands, there are two types. There's so if these are sebaceous, they make sebum. That's covering your skin and your hair. That's what you wash off. Sudiferous, these are sweat glands. There are two types. There's ecrine and apocrine. Okay. And what I want to make sure you understand is ecrine are merocrine, and these are the most numerous in the body, and they're responsible for keeping the body cool. Okay. Or if you remember, if you had, I don't know, a really salty meal the night before, right? And you're sweating the following day, some of that salt is actually lost to the surface of your skin. Now, apocrine glands, these are sweat glands, and they're located in the axilla, groin, areola, and bearded facial regions of adult males. And what actually happens is they release a scent, okay, a certain type of sweat at emotional stress. Okay, whatever the emotional stress is, duress, eustress, fun, who cares? Okay, there you go. And that's the functional difference. That's why it's important to pay attention to this. You have ceruminous glands, okay? Ceruminous glands, depending on who, where, when you learned how to say it. Cerumen, okay? It provides earwax, which is to stop things from actually crawling inside your ear canal. Okay? Now, all of these are secreted materials versus, say, what your nails are. Your nails are made of composed, hard, keratinized epidermal cells that grow over the dorsal surfaces of the ends of your fingers and toes, right? And the idea is that they're slightly hardened so you can actually groom yourself. That's the way I try to teach it, right? They have to have a purpose. It's not for you to work on your obsessive compulsive disorders. It's so that if there's something stuck in your skin, you actually have the ability to cut it out. I mean, pull it out, right? Because it's something that's stuck in your skin, even though you might think it's, what could it be? Imagine if you're in the woods, it would be a tick, and you have to have something strong enough to actually match the toughness of whatever the materials are. I don't spend too much time thinking about this, but here's the white, the luna of the nail. Here's the nail body or the plate. And this is the stuff that you decorate, right? You go out and get your nails done. I was going to say hair and nails. Spa day. There you go. Okay. Pull the cuticle back, get an infection when you go get your spa day done from the multiple fungus that are inside the bath. From all of this, though, we're going to find that there are two types of skin. There are two major types of skin. There's hairy skin and there's thick skin or hairless skin. Okay? And they cover the palms, palmar surfaces, the digits, as well as the soles of the feet. Beyond that, though, all we really want to concern ourselves is what happens when they get damaged. There are basic mechanisms that have to be activated when you've damaged epithelial cells in the epidermis as well as the dermis. We're going to talk about basic epidermal wound healing because this is when you just scratch the surface, quite literally scratch the surface, right? Here are all the dead cells, here are some live cells, here are the mitotically dividing cells. But if you've cut into these, they're no longer attached to one another. So their contact inhibition, which forces the cells to grow upward, is now lost. So they grow towards one another by rapid mitosis, right? Meaning they go through rapid cell divisions utilizing mitosis to make two smaller cells. When they come in contact with one another, then they start growing up again, literally, from the basale into the spinosum, into the granulosum, until you actually fill in that void. When we actually get into deep wound healing, the distinction here is you've actually cut through the actual layer of basale. You've now activated the cells which are responsible for maintaining the areolar connective tissue and the dense irregular connective tissue and all of this. And they're fibroblasts. We introduced them inside chapter 4, but we haven't spoken about them inside chapter 5 till now because they undergo increased protein synthesis to repair the tissues. They make the scar tissue that now replaces it. So they undergo some mitotic divisions, cell divisions themselves. They actually move into the space. They've repaired the connective tissue structures, as capillary beds. So now you stop losing blood, but what's going to happen is this all forms a clot. White blood cells come in and clean out bad things. Okay. Then the clot is going to be retracted, and that's happening because we've repaired blood flow, dermis, we've reestablished the epithelial boundary here, and now it's grown, and now the scab is what eventually comes off, right? If you're a kid, and if you're anything like me at all, you're constantly playing with the scab going, when's it going to come off? When's it going to come off? What's underneath it, right? And remember what you used. You used your fingernail, and it actually gets itchy, and it gets itchy for a reason. It gets itchy because what you're doing is you're making and breaking cells here, so when you actually pull off the edges, twink, okay, it allows then for this last resurfaced epithelium to move into the correct space. Now, there's a piece inside your textbook that goes on to, like, what's the development of the integumentary system. I think what I want to make sure that you understand is that, let's go here, okay. Epidermis derives from ectoderm. The nail, hairs, and skin glands are derivatives of that, okay. But the dermis develops from mesoderm, okay? And inside chapter 4, we went through the importance of understanding that if all cells arise from one cell, so right, this is one cell, this is you after fertilization, so therefore you're a zygote, and then you become you, right? How did you become you? You arose from 3 primordial tissues, E, M, and E. Ectoderm, mesoderm, and endoderm. So this means the integumentary system arose from ectoderm, meaning the epidermal portion of it did. The dermal portion arose from mesoderm. And it's a good way to remember all of this stuff. Okay? Well, that's it for chapter 5. Remember, you're thinking about what its function is, and its function isn't just to keep the wee beasties out. Remember, it has to be a self-sealing system to make sure that the wee beasties stay out. That's the purpose of both superficial and deep wound healing, as well as how do we actually get, say, hair cells as glands to be formed on all of this integumentary system. Okay, have a wonderful day. Bye. I suppose I should say, remember, read the book, watch these things, come to class prepared with questions. Take care. Bye.